Eric Baller from the Gold Sheet here, breaking down the Week 4 matchup between the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. At the time of the video, the Eagles are 8.5-point favorites, and the total is sitting at 45.5 points. Now, full transparency, I am a Washington Commander fan. I watch every single snap of every single game multiple times throughout the week. And while I am a fan, I am a realist. I am not biased. And after watching what I had to sit through and endure on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, all my prior notions about the Washington Commanders team has been actually proven, and I think they're going to struggle immensely against the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday. Now, the big issue for the Washington Commanders were two things: turnovers and sacks. Sam Howell was sacked 9 times in the football game. He threw 4 interceptions, and Washington also lost another forced fumble. But back to Sam Howell. Now, the offensive line for the Commanders is shaky. It is not good. They do not have any star power up there whatsoever. But most of those sacks were actually on Sam Howell. There's a reason why this kid went from being a day 1 pick to a day 3 pick after another year in college. That is, his pocket presence and his awareness are not NFL ready yet. Of course, he's a young kid, and ideally in the perfect world, he ends up being this quarterback of the future for the Commanders and is a good football player. But at the moment, he is not going through his progressions quickly enough. He is not making quick, decisive throws, and in turn, those are leading to bad decisions on staring receivers down and throwing interceptions, or simply taking terrible sacks at places on the field where you cannot take sacks. There are certain places on that football field where sacks are unacceptable. They bring you out of field goal range. They bring you out of, third and second down and manageable distances, and instead they lead to either punts or long and difficult field goal attempts. On the Eagles side, they went into Tampa Bay and they absolutely beat the brakes off of the Buccaneers. Now, this was a game that the final score could have been a little bit closer, had a couple of dropped touchdowns and miscues by the Tampa Bay offense. But what I'm really, really impressed with is how the Philadelphia Eagles were able to control the time of possession and run the clock out against the Buccaneers defense that's generally pretty stout against the run. This Eagles offensive front was putting gaping holes together for DeAndre Swift, and they amassed 202 total yards on the ground, and they controlled the ball for almost 40 full minutes, basically giving Tampa Bay a negative chance of getting back into that football game when the lead got a little bit insurmountable in the second half of that football game. Now, the reason why I think the Commanders are going to be dominated by Philly is simply because of that front four for the Philadelphia Eagles. That defensive line is so good, and this offensive line for the Commanders is really bad, and Howell has shown his pocket presence is not up to par whatsoever. Now, if the Eagles are able to dominate the trenches on defense as well as on offense, because while the Commanders' defensive front is good, this Philly line is really, really good on offense as well, that the Commanders really have no chance. Howell's going to be under pressure all game. The Commanders are going to have a hard time establishing the run, and Philly is going to have a relatively easier time establishing the run. They're able to throw on this Washington secondary, as we saw Josh Allen and his mobility was able to really get to Washington. They were incapable of bringing him down in sacks. He extended plays, and he made plays down the field. Now, while Hurts hasn't been lights-out passer so far this year, he still has shown his ability to make some moves out of the pocket, scramble, and still hit and connect on some deep balls with some of these receiving threats that the Philadelphia Eagles have. 8.5 points, obviously a ton to lay on the spread, especially with a divisional opponent. So I'm just going to tease this game and not really think twice about it. Taking the Eagles down to -2.5 at the current number in a traditional Wong-style teaser, 6-point teaser, -120 odds with something else on the board is 100%, in my opinion, the best way to approach this game. Have a mismatch on both sides of the ball for Philadelphia. And while the Commanders did come in and beat the Eagles in Philly last season, that was after they already played them one time. That was a primetime football game. That was not after an embarrassing loss at home. Yes, the Eagles are on the short week, but again, the way that they flexed their muscles and showed that they can just control and dominate the game on the ground, in the trenches on the offensive line, and by creating pressures and hurries on virtually almost every drop back with their defensive line, that is a tough combination for this Washington Commanders team to deal with. If you like the video, please leave a like and comment and let me know what you think about this Eagles and Commanders matchup. And also, if you want to get in with the Gold Sheet, use promo code on wagerstalk.com, GS30 for a 30-day all access for $199. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think, and best of luck on your bets this weekend.